Hope everyone's well today. I'm back out in my natural habitat. It's a gorgeous December day. There's the Leeds Liverpool Canal behind me. The ducks splashing around there, having fun. Right, okay, so what I want to do is a series of videos for anyone who's interested in what community is, why community is so vitally important, healthy communities in order to sustain healthy societies and cultures. And I guess my first question would be, well, actually this video, this first one, is going to be around attention spans, modern day attention spans, and how they're becoming increasingly shortened and why that's a massive problem. So that's today's topic. So I guess my first question would be, do you agree with that? Do you think that we live in an age whereby it's becoming increasingly difficult to have conversations with people or to engage with content online that has some kind of depth and texture to it and complexity? And then if you do agree with that, I would say, drop your thoughts in the comments. How damaging is it to a society if most of the citizens, or a lot of the citizens, are increasingly incapable, of pursuing interactions and conversations and their lives even with depth? So I just want to talk a bit about that, and also, more importantly, what's the solution to this? And what I'm trying to do with these YouTube videos and with my Roots of England school community, free to join, just click the link in the description, is I'm kind of looking ahead, and I'm anticipating a kind of a bit of a counter revolution, really, I guess, in the way that we process information and that we interact with each other. And I'm already seeing, I have seen in the last few years, kind of like a subculture of people who find depth, truth, textured discourse and nuance, who find those things to be of vital importance. And also, what I'm trying to do is look back to what we once really had in our world, which includes healthier communities, and try to focus on those things in the old world that are still there to some degree, and how we can recapture and reimagine. So I'm kind of like looking back and looking forward at the same time. So if this is something that interests you, please let me know in the comments what you think. So, short attention spans. When was the last time that somebody sent you something that was more than a Twitter link or X link, whatever it's called now, that was more than a YouTube short, that was more than just a soundbite, a 10-second video, a snapshot opinion, a knee-jerk reaction? Because most of the stuff I get sent still falls into those categories. We really are a society that's kind of like burnt out on information. Much of it useless. This is just my opinion. As I say, knee-jerk, angry, reactionary. And there's a reason for that, and it's because that's the kind of content that people consume nowadays. Short form, inflammatory, often inflammatory, very politically polarized, designed to get a reaction, an emotional reaction, but more to the point, often lacking in what I talked about before: context, breadth and depth, and lacking in that nuance that's vitally important when you're trying to ascertain what the truth of a situation is, if that makes sense. You know, this all reached a kind of crescendo in 2020 when, you know, the age of, because we also live in the age of slogans again, slogans and sound bites, in my opinion, because it's, you know, it's easy to kind of propagandize and target a society with the power of words. You know, particularly 3-word slogans. So if you think about, you know, get boosted now, save the NHS, all that nonsense. Very powerful because it preyed on people's short attention spans, but also kind of like hypnotise them as well through very carefully chosen slogans and sound bites. Now, if you look back to previous, you know, epochs of time, you know, ancient Rome, ancient Greece, you know, the age of philosophy. If you look to, you know, the Renaissance, the scientific enlightenment, you can even look back as, you know, Victorian England, a time of great creativity and, you know, heavyweight literature, you know, heavyweight literary figures like Charles Dickens, and you can look back at even as recently as, you know, the 1980s and 1990s, where you can see the, you know, creativity in the was a real part, still a real kind of like crucial part of the fabric of the culture. You know, pre-internet, it's the internet and social media, which I'm sure most of you will agree with, has contributed massively to the shortening of attention spans. And as I say, in bygone eras, talking, exchanging ideas, healthy dialogue, being able to respectfully disagree, to synthesize and argue, you know, to synthesize a debate using, you know, a thesis and an antithesis, you know, in order to synthesize a solution to get closer to truth. I don't know how many people are interested in that way of doing things anymore. I know there are some, and I hope it's I hope that I'm speaking to you now, because, as I say, this is just the first of quite a few videos I'm going to do about how the collapse of modern Western day societies is being brought about, and how we rebound from that. You know, what we can harness that we've still got to rebuild, and what new ideas, you know, that we can pursue in order to bring about, you know, our own kind of modern day renaissance. And you know, how are we, the citizens, weaponized by you know, the powers that be via the internet and social media? Well, it's data. You know, our data is vitally important in order for them to be able to divide us algorithmically into kind of political camps, and also to sell us things via advertisers, and also to harvest our energy. You know, if you've got a distracted, fearful population who many of whom are reducing their experience of the world down to, what's this 3x6 inch pixelated screen? You know, that's not good, is it? It's not good for us. It's not good for the society as a whole, but it is good for, you know, whoever wants to weaponize, control, oversee, whatever words you want to use, tyrannize. There's an overlap here with my previous content that I've done, but this is focused on solutions now. I did try and bring solutions with my last incarnation of this channel, The Imperfect Individual, but as I say, I'm really now looking towards the future and anticipating a time when people want to reconnect, genuinely and authentically reconnect with truth, with the natural world, with ideas, with belonging, with themselves and with each other. And that's not going to happen if you've got a lot of people who are only capable of interacting and engaging with very, very short form content online, and who are unable to pursue genuine conversations in person. So this is why I've set up Roots of England, my online school community. I think school is eventually going to replace or at least be a serious competitor for a lot of social media, as more and more people become sick to death of, as I say, all this reactionary opinion, the AI slop, you know, and all the rest of it. I'm just going to turn back here actually, because I think the wind is going to be a bit of a problem if I go down there. I think more and more people are going to look for something more wholesome, more genuine, more real, more authentic, something to bring them back to themselves and to each other, because, you know, we are so atomized, and so many people are so isolated, and as I say, their world's being reduced down to a 3x6 inch pixelated screen on the phone, looking down all the time. We have a generation of people with bad necks. I've got a bad neck at the moment because I still go on my phone too much, and that's probably contributed. I am also in part a slave to this, because phones are addictive. I think everybody, if they're being honest, would agree with that. We probably all spend too much time looking at these bloody things, you know, and our life reduced down to what's showing on the screen. So I like people, and I always have, and I'm more comfortable when I'm able to discuss things in a broader way, to explore. I'm really interested in you know, ideas and concepts, you know, the metaphysics behind things, stories and narratives, you know, I like abstract, you know, the idea of the abstract, to try to abstract and truth, to try to pursue meaning and purpose, rather than, you know, people, events and things, timelines. That's what I'm most comfortable with. That's what I feel most aligned to and attuned to. And I see the damage that's done being done to society by too many people slavishly addicted to the phones, you know, B, so many people only too happy to regurgitate an opinion that they've seen 1,000 times from the same type of people online, and C, you know, too many who are really unable to or unwilling to, you know, try to find, you know, the truth of a matter, to imprint their, you know, their genuine personality and character and beliefs and onto the society, and to cultivate that real deep purpose. Because I'm sorry, I just don't see enough of it, which is why I'm trying to solve this particular problem by doing what I'm doing with setting up this new community, Roots of England. Again, as I say, if you click on the link to join, it's free, and I think you'll love what I've got there. So it's a place, if this video resonates with you, then you will like, I am sure, what is lying there and wait for you. A place to find like-minded people, where we celebrate England's old ways, the nature, the countryside, heritage and traditions and culture, dogs, pets, animals, food and drink, and the beauty and splendour. And it's a place for belonging and connection and purpose. So if that is going to help fill a void in your life, I think you will love what I've got there, and this video will be posted on there as well. So I'm going to leave it there. I see my responsibility and my purpose as, again, naming the problems that we've got, which I'm trying to do, and then focusing on the solution or on the proposed solution. And you know, a central idea of Carl Jung's work is, you know, societies kind of rise and fall on the back of the individual's journey towards wholeness. He calls it individuation, and that means taking on responsibility. And there's a lot more to the Jungian work than that, which I'm sure I'll probably talk about. But what I'm saying is that I'm trying to take on the responsibility that's been bestowed on me to do my bit, to heal, to reimagine, to bring about a renaissance to something that I can, as I say, imagine and picture, something that I remember. You know, something that I remember not so long ago that we had, even though it was dying. And it's also something that I'm passionate about as well. I mean, I'm passionate about this gorgeous country. I like to show it off when I'm on my walks. You know, as I say, I remember the England of old. You know, I'm 43 now, and you know, the 80s and 90s seems like a lifetime away, but I do remember it. A lot of it's still here. It is. As I say, once you get out into the country and you see that rural way of life, more simple, more genuine, more wholesome, more real, more rooted, more anchored to, you know, to ancestors, to ancient times, more spiritual. And all these things are so important to me. And all these things are nothing to do with short attention spans, you know, because great countries, great societies, great cultures are built on the back of great individuals. Always have been, always will be, you know. And unhealthy societies, immoral societies, depraved societies even, I will use that word, unethical societies, form, decadent societies, form and metastasize into that when there are enough individuals who simply cannot, will not cultivate or make an attempt to cultivate their own ethics and morals and values. And that's what we're up against at the moment. So if you're like me, if what I've said resonates with you, or even it partly resonates, please do let me know in the comments. Please join us in the Roots of England school community that we've got going on. You will love it, I'm sure. And I'm going to leave it there. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you enjoyed the scenery. The sky, I think the sky's bluer when you get blue skies in the winter. So it always seems to be like a deeper blue than in the summer. I don't know why that is. Anyway, right, I've enjoyed doing this video. I like being out in my natural habitat. And I'm going to leave it there. So I'll speak to you all soon. Cheers.